Hey guys, this week's video is dedicated to the complete recovery of Masha Bas Bat Sheva. It's first Friday this week. It's April 1st. We're doing a spring Shabbat, and I know you look out the window in Rochester and it doesn't really feel like spring yet, but it is around the corner. This Shabbos, we begin the month of Nisan, which has Pesach in it, and so that's Chag HaAviv. It's the spring holiday, so it is around the corner. Speaking of Pesach, if you haven't reserved your spot yet for the Seder, or you're not sure of your plans yet, we have plenty of room. Please reach out for the YJP Seder. We also have Seder to go kits. If you're running your own Seder and you want all the essentials, please let us know. In this week's Torah portion, Parshat Tazria, it discusses the laws of a Jewish person who was struck with Tzarat. What is Tzarat? It's mistranslated many times as leprosy, but this was actually a spiritual ailment that manifested itself on the skin of the person. And this came about because the person was gossiping or speaking negatively about somebody else. And because it was a spiritual disease, instead of going to a dermatologist, he actually went to a Kohen. Not for a topical cream, but because he was a spiritual leader and this was a spiritual issue, he would then be able to look at it and decide, yes, this is Tzarat, this is what we're going to do about it, and this is the protocol, and so on. And I came across this interesting idea. You know, you're supposed to go for a yearly physical. Hopefully we do it, right? To make sure that you're healthy. And what do we do at the physical? We check the height, the weight, we check our blood pressure, make sure our heart's okay, run a few stress tests, right? Up and down the stairs. We make sure we're, maybe run on the treadmill a little bit. Make sure that we're in good physical health. What about our spiritual health? Do we ever go for a spiritual? And then you might say, well, what does a spiritual checkup look like? How do we check up on our spiritual health? Well, maybe for height, it would be, do we walk proud? Is our posture as Jews good? I don't mean just walking straight, but are we proud Jews? Do we walk tall, or do we hunch over under the weight of being in a minority? What about our weight? Do we have a good balance between our spiritual life and our physical life? Are we maybe a little malnourished when it comes to our spiritual life? Is our Jewish heart healthy? Is it empathetic to those who are suffering? Is our hand a giving hand? A stress test would be, how do we go through the ups and downs in life? Do we get really high and full of ourselves and overconfident when we're experiencing something really amazing? Do we get depressed and dejected when we have a down in life? Or do we take the perspective that everything is run by God? We never get too high, too low, because we know God is running the world. This is how we check in on our spiritual health. And just like the Kohen was the one who checked spiritually, once in a while, it's very ideal to have our spiritual health checked out, whether it be by a spiritual person like a rabbi, or whether it be by a friend or family member, or whether it just be ourselves. Checking in on ourselves. Maybe we need a new spiritual regimen. Maybe we need a new spiritual diet to add a little more spirituality in our lives. And that way we know that we are healthy both in body and in soul. Shabbat Shalom.